The Pixel 5a is Google's latest mid-range device. However, it's still very similar to its previous predecessor, the Pixel 4a 5G, meaning it's rocking the same exact camera system, which is a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, 12 megapixel main sensor, and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. We are currently shooting on that 12 megapixel main sensor, and this entire video is actually shot on the Pixel 5a 5G. So without further ado, let's get right into my review on this camera. The fact is, there's not a lot new with the Pixel 5a when compared with the Pixel 5 or even compared to the Pixel 4a. There's a 12 megapixel main sensor that does have an f1.7 aperture and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor that has an f2.2 aperture. So it's the same setup as you'd find on both the Pixel 5 and 4a that we saw last year. There's still no telephoto lens ever since Google backtracked from the Pixel 4, which notably had a telephoto lens and no ultra wide sensor. But hopefully we'll see this with maybe the Pixel 6. Photos taken from the Pixel 5a are excellent with great exposure indoors and outdoors, but it does improve in low light conditions compared to the Pixel 4a. Google's powerful AI software adapts to changing conditions, providing great shots that are nearly always worth sharing, in combination with features such as HDR+, night sight, and portrait light. The only downside is the Pixel 5a does not have the ability to shoot lossless zoom shots, which are getting more and more common in smartphones. The maximum zoom for this phone is 7x, which is low compared to other smartphones at this price point. Switching to the dedicated ultra-wide camera, the Pixel 5a images display good exposure and color rendering, although slight white balance casts are visible in some conditions. The detail is lower compared to the main camera, and noise is usually visible depending on the lighting condition. There's also problems in the outer field with loss of sharpness. For the most part though, these issues don't significantly undermine the overall pleasantness of ultra-wide shots. Overall, I gotta say both the primary and ultra-wide sensors produce some pretty great images. Google does an extremely good job at producing natural looking pictures, and that's something I always appreciate on an affordable device. So let's move on to some of the modes. First off, night mode. The low light mode, night sight on Pixel devices have received a lot of praise over the years. It continues to capture good photos in the dark, even where your eyes cannot see things. In low contrast light, it's possible to get sharp handheld shots using night sight, which ensures a brighter image, especially in shadow areas. The astrophotography mode demands a tripod for sharp shots because exposure times are longer, but it definitely gets the job done, and it's pretty impressive what you can pull off with just a smartphone camera. Let's move on to portrait mode. A slight crop is introduced and blur is applied to the background using Google's AI to help your subject stand out. Overall, I am impressed by the portrait mode. It will take your Canon portraits up a level compared to the standard camera, and looks like it was shot on a professional camera when sharing on social media with family and friends. By default, the images is saved twice with and without the blur applied, so you can enable or disable this feature if you'd like. Google has also opened up that blur effect to any image taken on any camera by using portrait blur in Google Photos. So if you have a device and you want to access this feature, you can do that as long as you have that application installed. Let's move on to the video side of things. Both the Pixel 5a and 4a 5G lets you shoot 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, as well as 1080p at a maximum frame rate of 240. While the camera quality for videos is the same, in some cases people reported overheating issues in the Pixel 5a when recording in 4K. Naturally though, when this device gets hot, performance starts to degrade on the entire device. I went outside in downtown Atlanta and took some pictures in the hot Georgia sunny weather, and I didn't run into any overheating issues. So I'm sure some of you guys are gonna wanna vlog on this device or are curious on how it would look like if you were to vlog on this phone. So this is just a quick test. I'm gonna walk around a little bit. Right now it's not windy or anything like that, but there's a little bit of some background noise because I am in the city on top of a parking deck. But yeah, if you are looking to record a lot with this front-facing camera, this is what you can expect from it. In conclusion, Google has kept the Pixel 5a the same as 4a 5G and set sail for mid-range market with lower specification models that are more affordable than top-end devices from competitive brands. I still hope they could have added a telephoto lens and better zoom quality, as it's common for devices at this range to have. Overall, Google has taken the route, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and I don't mind that approach with this device. However, I do still feel like there's a lack of innovation here, especially since Google released this device less than a year since its previous predecessor. Anyway, with that said, thank you so much for watching this camera review. My name is Victor Kamanga. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you'd like to see more great tech content like this. Bye.